It's time to sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, my pretty babies, what is going on for this Monday night of October 14th, 2024? I'm not sure if we're going through a little bit of the beginning of a storm or what. Kind of weird what I was noticing at my end just now. There was a little bit of buffering going on. Let me know if you guys are experiencing it throughout the broadcast. But hey, Lee Sanders with you guys. Minutes removed from an all-new WWE RAW. How you guys been? Y'all been good? I took a bit of a impromptu vacation. It honestly was needed. I was kind of feeling a little bit burned out because I had spent pretty much all of last week gearing up for a couple of exams, and I wanted to make sure I was as sharp as possible going into it and everything. I feel pretty good about some of the exams that I took. One course in particular, I'm going, I think I need to study a little bit more. But of course, with this one, I'm rushing to, premature judgment, right? Because I haven't even seen the official grade yet. I just feel things didn't go that well. But hey, it could be I tripping for no reason. I don't know. We'll see. What did you guys think about tonight's WWE RAW? Sound off. YouTube.com/the RCWR show. We also got a poll up on X, formerly known as Twitter. I'm going to be poking my head in there right now, actually, because I just want to get a little bit of a little bit of a sneak peek how you guys voting and everything here. And yeah, I'm looking at X right now as we speak. I would agree with the vast majority of you guys. And then let me just see how you guys voted on YouTube. So I put the YouTube poll out first. See what you guys are saying here. And we got that loading up real nice and pretty. Yeah, you guys are almost, man, this is almost identical. Let's get some more votes on the YouTube though. But I like seeing what's happening right now early with YouTube there. So look, we're going to try to be in and out as quick as humanly possible. My voice has been coming and going these past couple of days. I am under the weather. It freaking sucks because I have a pretty big and important project that's going to be coming up, and I need my vocals. Not to mention, I'm actually going to be doing some stuff for campus radio, and I need my voice. Now, the campus radio stuff, that's not going to be happening until next week, but I'm hoping that between now and then, my voice will be back up to 100% and everything. Once again, I cannot stress it enough to everybody that has been affected by the recent storms. I'm definitely thinking about you guys, and I've already donated. If you all that are in a position to do so, American Red Cross, Salvation Army, every little bit helps, whether you can only afford $5, 10, whatever. The more the better, but even at minimum, it's like $5. Do what you can to help out these people that have been affected by these recent storms, because I'm telling you, man, it's going to be many, many, many years before everything is back to where it was before these storms had hit. But then even at that, the lives of these families that's been affected by these storms will never be the same again, unfortunately. Just breaks my heart seeing and hearing. I have family and friends, definitely a lot of friends that have been impacted by those surrounding areas where the storms hit. And it's just pretty much, one of my friends that I was talking to, Lee, I don't know what I'm going to do. I've tried rebuilding and I don't know, man. I think I'm just going to have to move elsewhere. I'm like, wow, it's that bad. It's like, yeah, it's that. Like after this, I just how can I keep going? I get it. I get it. I totally understand that. So it's just, I was talking to the wife about it a couple of days ago, and she said, it's stuff like what's happening with all these people that we know or that we're hearing about. Why I never want to live that close to the ocean. Like, yeah, yeah, I hear you. I hear you. And then she doubled down. She says, it's not just so much about the ocean, but just I don't want to be in areas where, you know, we could be exposed to devastating storms like what a lot of these people are going through. And it's like, yeah, totally in agreement. Totally in agreement. So yeah, but wait, next little bit that we're on, we're gonna do our best, put a little bit of a smile on you all's face. We're definitely gonna talk AEW WrestleDream. I did watch that over the weekend. I will admit to you guys, I did my very best to make it towards the end of the pay-per-view. That did not play out accordingly. Telling you all that right now. It did not play out accordingly. More on that in a little bit. You picked a good night. We'll definitely dive a little bit in between all things wrestling, non-wrestling related. You guys got to forgive me though. As I said, voice not at 100%. Got my nice strong cup of tea though, helping out with the throat. So you gotta forgive me in advance if I'm gonna be taking a couple of sips. So I was curious what was going on with you guys from last week because uh question that I had on my mind was, well, how was the Raw premiere from last week as far as their 2-hour format goes, their new 2-hour format? And I see from some of my friends and colleagues in the podcasting world, the Raw from last week, first return episode to 2-hour format, was a dud. I sadly never did get a chance to catch up on that episode. So I pretty much just jumped right into this week's episode and everything. Sometimes I like that, especially if I've been on vacation from the shows. If I don't get a chance to sit down and watch after a certain amount of time, I just go, okay, you know what? Let me just go in blind to the next episode and just go from there. That way I'm experiencing it in real time and I can just go off of my interpretations of what I'm seeing and everything. And to just follow up on some of the polling results so far tied to my thoughts on tonight's episode. I gotta say, I know last week again, a lot of my friends and colleagues were going, "What a dud of a episode last week." A lot of people said it was one of the weakest episodes of Raw for this calendar year. Again, last week. Okay, I hear that. That's last week. What's going on with this week? Going into this week, man, it was a little bit rough to watch. It wasn't a bad episode, but it also felt like a nothing burger as well. And of course, I don't like saying that, but that's just the interpretation that I had for this one. Although I gotta say, it was nice seeing Cody Rhodes and Gunther cross paths with one another, both respected champions, pretty much holding their own, doing pretty good and advancing their upcoming match at Crown Jewel, trying to see who's going to get that Crown Jewel championship. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because we got this Crown Jewel event that's going to be coming up. Obviously, Crown Jewel, it's got to get its own type of a spectacle, right? It's got to get its own respected hype and everything. But I got to tell you, as far as crown jewel events, and I've watched every single one of them since the first one. Okay. This is one of those crown jewels where, and if you've been listening to me for a long time, I've jumped out there and said repeatedly that within the last 3 to 4 years, WWE has done a fine job in making these crown jewel events feel like, yo, this is can't miss, because they've done really nice, solid cards, nice little surprises and everything. They've done a good job. But the way this current crown jewel event is shaping up so far, you can't help but look at it and go, yeah, you know what? I think this go round, I'm honestly going to be okay if I decide I don't want to watch this. I'll be all right, literally. And that's the vibe. I hope I'm wrong, but we've got about 2.5 weeks left. I think it is, before Crown Jewel pops up. And you're just looking at the card right now going, well, if this is pretty much all we're going to be looking forward to at Crown Jewel, then yeah, man, you know what? I think I'll be just fine. I believe they say Crown Jewel is going to be coming up on November the 2nd. Yes, November the 2nd. And so again, this is like 2.5 weeks, man. And right now, all we know about is two matches. Like, this is how, when you think about Crown Jewel, WWE is really in this unique position right now where, okay, we know you're going to do a singles match for the inaugural Crown Jewel men's champion. We already know you're going to do an inaugural women's Crown Jewel champion. We know you're going to do that. But besides that, what else you got? Now, hopefully, we'll learn a lot more with this coming week's SmackDown. There'll be more progress made. But this just feels so far like a throwaway event. I hope I'm wrong, but that's just how it's coming off so far. But Gunther, Cody Rhodes, trading bars. You're like, hey, okay, cool. We're trying to highlight this particular match, make it feel important. Woo, whoopee. To each its own. But me, I'm going, next. What's next? What do we got next? I gotta say, I actually enjoyed what was going on with Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Tiffany Stratton, Nia Jax. I found all of those interactions tonight, everything surrounding that respected women's champion and women's champion. I found that multi-layered cake better tasting than what was going on with the men's side. And I just can't help but wonder if a lot of you out there kind of felt the same way. I know there were some reactions to Cody and Gunther online where I don't agree with those sentiments, but we had some people that were going trash versus garbage. And take that however you want to take it, as far as between Cody and Gunther, who's representing trash and who's representing garbage. But basically, if that went over y'all's head, it's pretty much, what's the difference here? Basically, there is a core group of folks that feel that both champions aren't really about nothing. That's not my words. That's just, some little small core group of fans out there. That's how they're feeling about the current reigns of Cody and Gunther. Look, me personally, I just feel that with what's happening with Crown Jewel with these matches, it just feels so goddamn forced. It really, really does. Can't beat that horse to death enough as it is. But again, with the way they did things with the women, loved it. Loved it. Right? Rhea Ripley still chasing after Liv Morgan. But then we've got Tiffany Stratton out there saying to Rhea Ripley, yo, don't be sticking your nose in places where it doesn't belong. Otherwise, you're going to get checkmate, not just by me, but you're going to get checkmate by the champion herself, Nia Jax. So nice little interesting dynamics that you got going on there. Both of those girls getting jumped from behind by who was it? Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan. I never did comment at great length on Raquel Rodriguez WWE return. I know I touched upon it briefly from WWE's last pay-per-view and everything, but I don't know what's been going on with her. I don't know what's been going on with her from a personal standpoint. As fans, it's really none of our business, but I just can't help but go, man, we haven't seen you in months. Again, don't know what's been going on. Maybe something health wise was really, really messing with her. Maybe she was taking care of a loved one and that pretty much had devoted all of her attention and everything. I don't know what the case may be. But and I'm not giving her excuses. I'm just stating, this is very well what could have happened with her. But to be gone all those months and to make your return and you look as though you pretty much were just chilling the whole time, just enjoying life, going, Jim, what do you mean, Jim? No, I'm all right. You know, that just kind of, that just kind of made me go, it must be nice. It must be nice to be out X amount of months. And then you can just show up looking like an average Joe or Jill. And you're supposed to come off as this big menacing force. You're supposed to come off like this freak of nature and everything. And I mean, there's nothing really intimidating. Okay, great. She's got height. But there's a big difference between Raquel Rodriguez height and size versus a woman like Rhea Ripley. And the difference is Rhea Ripley looks like she will rip your goddamn head off. I mean, even if you just take the makeup off of her, okay? Look past the makeup, look past the tattoos. She still looks like, comes down to it. No matter if you a man or a woman, she gonna hold her own pretty damn good whooping that ass. Raquel Rodriguez, on the other hand, comes off as an individual that, hey, did you used to play basketball or something? Did you used to play in the WNBA or something? I mean, that's like literally the only right now. Look, some people may look at that as a diss and say, "Well, look, Lee, not for nothing, but basketball players, it is a physical sport, and yeah, I definitely agree with that." But you get what I'm saying at the end of the day when you really read right in between the lines. It amazes me, really, it does, because so many times history has shown us, wrestling fans, when a wrestler has been out on injury, personal leave, whatever, they're gone for months upon months upon months. When we see them finally return, we're like, whoa, man, they really, really been doing their bodies some good. Man, they're like, oh, nice and cut up. Or, hey, they put on some more bulk. They're looking. Yeah, we've seen it time and time again. I mean, we'd be here if we were to spend 30 minutes just going over the wrestlers, male and female. If we were to just go over the wrestlers that went out because of some injury, came back looking better than ever, right? And you just can't help it, like when you look at people like Raquel Rodriguez, what the hell was going on there? So I was paying very close attention to that too when it came to the main event of the night, because we ended up seeing Tiffany Stratton team up with Rhea Ripley to face Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. And it went down exactly how I think I alluded to this on WWE's last pay-per-view post show, which was, hey, there might be that size. They might kind of match up in size a little bit, but Rhea's got Raquel beat as far as body mass and everything. And that was definitely the case within reason, within great. It was very, honestly, to the keen eye, you're really paying attention. You're going, oh, yeah, Rhea looks more the part than, it's almost kind of funny to a certain degree, because you could almost make an argument if you did not know who was who in WWE and you asked a random person, hey, this is the champion, Liv Morgan, the chick here with the blonde hair. Between these two tall, dark haired women, which one do you think is her bodyguard? I guarantee you most people would pick Rhea Ripley. And it's almost like we're watching roles that have been swapped here. It's it's interesting. Yeah, it's really interesting. Um Into that match, Nia Jax popped up, attacked Rhea Ripley. Referee had no choice but to throw the match out. Nia Jax wrecking havoc on everybody, setting it up very nicely for Tiffany to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase. And she was just about to do it successfully, too, before Dom Mysterio came from out of nowhere and rescued Liv Morgan. I will be your hero, baby. I'm thinking of Enrique Iglesias. Don't mind me. But yeah, so we got all that nice little setup. Very nice multi-layer. I'm really enjoying it right now because we've got Rhea chasing after Liv and that championship, but at the same time, we've got this nice little Tiffany Stratton, Rhea Ripley little rivalry, little feud that's baked in there somehow. Great job by WWE and crew putting that on display and everything. Not sure if that really should have closed out tonight's Raw, just my personal opinion. But hey, it is what it is. But then you got Nia Jax in the mix as well. Got her in there. I like it. I like what's going on here. Jay Uso, Jimmy Uso. We saw them cross paths tonight. Nice how they had set that up. Jay Uso came to the rescue of Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods after Bron Breakker picked up a win over Kofi Kingston. Pretty much beat him down. It wasn't a decisive victory as far as it being a squash match. Nah, not a squash match by any stretch. They tried to make it be as competitive as possible, and I think it came off pretty well, all said and done. But Xavier Woods coming out post match, checking up on his boy, Kofi. Next thing you know, Bron Breakker attacking Xavier. Well, it looked like it was about to be a field day for Bron Breakker when Jimmy, no, I wish it was Jimmy. That would have been very interesting. When Jay Uso came out for the save. Yeah, nice stuff right there. Afterwards, Jay crossed paths with Jimmy. I guess Jay was maybe on his way to his locker room or whatever. Jimmy wanted to follow up and chat with him. Of course, this is stemming from what all had went down on SmackDown. Pretty much Jimmy saying to Roman Reigns, "Yo, we need him. We need to get in contact with him." And everybody's under the impression, oh, they're talking about The Rock. Like, nah, not so fast, not so fast. It's not, no. And if you watch that SmackDown from last week, it pretty much was obvious who they were talking about. You would have thought Rock, but as the night progressed, they let it be crystal clear who they were referencing, which was Jimmy Uso and everything. Jimmy trying to catch up with Jay later on in the night. Jay not having it. Look, this is going down very beautifully. Very beautifully. It should not be that damn easy of a reunion. It should not. So I like the fact that we as fans are continuing to be teased by the eventual return of the original bloodline and everything. I can't help but wonder what is going to be that tipping point. What is going to be that? Okay, maybe we can make this work the second time around. I can't help but wonder if it might involve Jimmy somehow catching a bullet for Jay. If that might be in the form of getting involved in the Bron Breakker business. I wonder if it maybe might be something along those lines. Have to wait and see. But we're getting the tease. Timing and everything is perfect right now. By the way, honorable mention for the Bron Breakker promo that aired tonight. Some really good shit. Bron Breakker explaining why he attacked Jey Uso last week. He attacked him because he gave him his props, gave him credit for beating him, becoming the new IC champion. Talked about how he respected him, respected his game. Did not get the same in return. So that irked him off. And he felt, if anything, that was a big lack of disrespect. And that's why he attacked Jey Uso. It was really good stuff. It was really good how it was designed and everything. I know they had a segment with Adam Pearce talking with Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed promising to be a very good boy if he gets his match against Seth Rollins. Say less. Say less. Look, I don't need Bronson Reed. Oh, hey, little buddy. Oh, it's two of y'all. Oh, it's three of y'all. Um, I don't need Bronson Reed. Let me move this down just a tiny little bit. There we go. That's a little better. I don't need to see Bronson Reed and just a regular t-shirt sitting across from somebody like Adam Pearce. I mean, look, Adam Pearce is he's a tall dude. He's a tall, big dude. His own respected right. But I don't know, compared to Bronson Reed, seeing Bronson Reed in just, a t-shirt, like I never want to see that again. Bronson Reed should continue to be this larger than life, massively big individual. And I have a suggestion to make for the wardrobe people. I have a suggestion to make to the wardrobe people. You want to continue to show off that size. You want to continue to show off that Bronson Reed intimidation. So going forward, I think it'd be a really good idea. You don't have to put Bronson Reed in suits and ties. You don't have to let that be somebody else's shtick. But what you should be doing is putting Bronson Reed in leather jackets and make those leather jackets complement his shoulders. So if that means you need to make put in there some extra padding, you don't have to, I'm not saying we got to go back to the 80s. Remember how the shoulder pads were in the 80s for men and women. Let's say we got to go that extreme, but you definitely want to put some padding in there and, really help them out, width wise, give off that monstrous, that appearance, right? Sell it more. Because just seeing him in a regular t-shirt, I wasn't buying that this was a guy that has been wrecking havoc on everybody. Now, look, I've seen with my own two eyes how the guy's been booked, and I've been loving it. Seeing him tonight, just in this chair, and it's just a regular t-shirt on. And before you go, but Lee, it was a black t-shirt. Yeah, yeah. Everybody looks good in a black t-shirt. Not to mention when you wear black, it does make you look, a little slimmer, and all of that. But no, we definitely need to add some padding for my guy going forward. Adam Pearce following up with Seth Rollins later on in the night. Rollins wanting the match against Bronson Reed. So I would suspect we're probably going to get that at Crown Jewel. That should be pretty good one. That's going to be coming up. What else? What else did we have go down on Raw tonight? Miz took on R-Truth, Karrion Kross, and his Final Testament gang were there at ringside. Just when we thought we were going to get some type of a competitive match. No, well, no. R-Truth taking advantage of Miz being distracted, getting a roll up on him within seconds. Karrion Kross and crew trying to help out Miz, grabbing R-Truth, tossing him back in the ring. Miz pulling off the skull crushing finale. The plot continues to thicken here with Karrion Kross's fixation, obsession, possession obsession with the Miz. While at the same time, we're continuing to get the cryptic messages from Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six that basically they're watching what Final Testament is doing and they take great issue with it. By the way, quick sidebar. Wasn't even going to talk about this at all. It's just something that popped up in my head randomly. How do we all feel about the marketing that's going on for Bray Wyatt, Uncle Howdy, the Bray Wyatt DLC that's coming? What is it? Wednesday, this Wednesday, actually, October 16th, for WWE 2K24. How are we all feeling about that? Is it a case where maybe some of you all would have preferred if there was no marketing involved, if it was just quietly released? And just to your surprise, would y'all prefer if it had went down that way? Because I just find it so interesting. Like, remember, we talked about it here on the show that this deal, basically a special Legends deal, if you will, that was inked out with uh, JoJo, of course, the widow for Bray Wyatt and all that, and the family, basically, hey, they're going to be taken care of, for all the years to come. Pretty much anything that is made with Bray Wyatt in mind and his whole Firefly Funhouse, there's going to be a decent amount of that money that's going to be going towards JoJo and the kids and everything. So, the money is definitely going to the right place, where it counts the most. I'm just saying, how do we feel from a marketing perspective? It just is interesting because I'm almost within reason. I'm almost reminded of that period of time where Chris Jericho, I mean, just at his best as a bad guy when he was doing his whole No Country for Old Men, Nick Bockwinkel impression. And he made sure, as far as him being made DLC content, t-shirts or whatever, he made sure that, no, we're not doing that. We're not going that route. Forget that. So I just kind of look at some of the marketing that's going on right now, and there's a part of me that gets it, but then there's another part of me that just goes, huh? Like, from a marketing standpoint, I wish what could have happened. I wish it would have been a case where maybe you could have received a series of cryptic messages, maybe leading up to some type of a barcode, and that barcode would give you a series of, each barcode over the course of each week. You would get like one letter, one number, or whatever. And then pretty much once you reached a certain point, you then had to take that code and try to figure out the exact order in which that code needs to be. And then if you crack the code, then you unlock all that content that I'm talking about. I don't know. I think that just kind of, make people work for it, make them earn it and everything. It almost kind of reminds me one of my favorite all-time video games that Konami ever made, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And me and my friends, we did not know this for many, many, many years, which was if you took the game disc itself and put it in the MP3 player, you could hear the goddamn soundtrack for the video game. We did not know that for years. And I think a lot of gamers were not aware of that. It took years before. Wait a minute, what? And credit to the original person that had discovered it, because I can't remember the person's name, but yeah, he just looked at it and he was like, "Hey, I wonder if I can put this in a CD player. Like, what would happen if I put this in a CD player?" And that's exactly what he did. He just put it in a CD player one day and just start playing. And he was like, "Oh snap!" And the rest was pretty much history, as they say. So I don't know. I sound off on that. I might be way off on that one, but I just wish they would make people, work a little bit harder for that one. That's just me personally. Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair successfully defended their women's tag titles against Kairi Sane and Io Sky. Okay matchup. I'm just looking at all the matches for the night, and really, I would have to say that as far as you know what, that was a pretty solid match, give or take overall. Honestly, I probably would have to go with ooh, excuse me. Ooh, old man Lee. I think it's I'm glad we're getting these Raws in 2-hour formats because you just imagine doing that third hour right now. Oh my god. And then we'd have to do the post show going until guaranteed 12:30 for sure. It is so nice to do these shows an hour earlier and then pretty much be in bed at a decent time. I love it. I love it. I love it. You guys have no idea, especially on a Monday night, and I've got classes first thing Tuesday mornings. Those joints can be a pain. Let me tell you, those joints can be a pain. One of my first classes kicks off a little bit after 7 in the morning, so it's kind of like, you feel me? Yeah, I like Jade and Bianca Belair's match with Damage Control. I did like that one. Interesting, isn't it? First match for Raw tonight, women's open it up. Last match of the night for tonight's show, women's closed it out. Just an interesting observation there. But yeah, I would definitely say the two women's matches for sure, for sure. Everything else was a nothing burger, honestly. Appreciate them trying to squeeze in 5 matches in a 2-hour show, but this was a big old nothing burger when it was all said and done. New contenders is to be determined for JD McDonough and Finn Balor for their tag titles, as we saw a new tournament commence, a contenders tag tournament. One of the first round matches we got was Otis and Akira Tozawa taking on the returning War Raiders. War Raiders are back. We saw Ivar for a good little bit flying solo there, but Eric is now back, and seem like they've got a revamped kind of look. They kind of come off as if there's something from the heavy metal scene, if you will. I dig the new look, honestly. Happy to see them back. Looking forward to seeing what they do in the tag division this go round. But we saw them just decisively defeat Otis and Tozawa to advance. So, what else? My God, is that it? Are you serious? We couldn't have possibly gone through every single thing from Raw, but it looks like we did. Good God. Wow, I thought there was more to talk about in regards to Raw. I thought there was more to talk about, but let me just make sure I'm not missing anything. But yeah, this was a I don't want to say it was a dud of an episode, but at best, I'm between a below average to a average episode for this week. I'm just looking off to the side here. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't miss anything. And yeah, yeah, guys, believe it or not, that was Raw in a nutshell. All the matches that they had on the card tonight, um, under 10 minutes. That includes the women's opener. And then as far as the main event match of the night, the same deal. The same deal. A lot of these matches, some will push back and maybe make the argument, damn, is Raw taking maybe too many commercial breaks here? Like what the hell is going on? You got me. You got me. And then let's not also forget WWE. In case you guys are not aware, WWE is starting to tape shows now. Man, to go back to those days Where's Eric Bischoff when you need him going, hey, no need to check out what the guys are doing on that other network. Here's the results for you so far. But yeah, in case you guys are not aware, tonight's Raw was pre-taped. Not sure if you all are aware of that yet, but it was pre-taped. So now some of you guys may be going, well, why was Raw pre-taped? Like what was going on here? By the looks of it, it would appear that the company had pre-taped some of matches and segments for the show. Uh, see why? 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 Your guess is as good as mine here. Hang on, I'm actually looking for you guys right now. So it looks like WWE began the live Europe tour on October 13th from Cardiff, Wales, and that's going to go all the way until October 16th. So as a result of that live tour away from the United States, so that's why we got this taped edition of Raw from Indiana. Now, you guys got to keep in mind, this is not going to be the only time that you're going to get a Raw pre-taped, as it looks like the second half of WWE's live tour starts November 3rd and it goes until November 6th. So that's definitely going to make a impact on the November 4th edition of Monday Night Raw. So most likely that November 4th edition is going to be taped as well. So, and then another thing to think about as well, think about pre-taping spoilers that could possibly reveal the winners from the Crown Jewel PLE, because that PLE is going to be coming up on November 2nd. So it's going to be very interesting to see how all of that, gets ironed out and everything. By the way, I see that WWE, their live holiday tour, it looks like they're going to be making a pit stop out here in Baltimore, Maryland, sometime in late December. I'm thinking about going to that event. I'm seriously thinking about going to the event. I'm just not sure what kind of event is it going to be. Is that going to be a SmackDown edition or is it going to be a Raw edition? I'm a little bit curious what's going to happen, because if it's just going to be a regular live show, I'm like really on the fence. I would only really want to go if it's going to be a SmackDown or a edition of Raw. But I'll keep you guys posted if I decide I end up going to that event. So yeah, let's see what you guys had to say here. Looking at the final tally results for this week's Raw. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Going over to YouTube right now. Jesus Christ. Jesus. Tie all the way. Your options are awesome show, average show, below average, terrible show. Y'all are dead even. That's a deadlock right there. Let's see what's going on via X, formerly known as Twitter. So we got 14% of you saying it was a terrible show. Meanwhile, 19% of you felt it was an awesome show. 66% of you went with average show. Appreciate you guys that voted. Yeah, I would say somewhat of a below average edition for this week. Anybody that's claiming this was a fantastic episode, awesome, can't miss or whatever, no. No, look at them sideways would be my message to you guys. Look at them sideways for sure. All right, so let's talk some other stuff that's going on in this crazy world, pro wrestling and beyond. Let's go there. Hope you guys been enjoying yourselves so far. And if you have, do me a huge solid and make sure you guys, I just got the stream up, making sure everything's looking pretty good, at least on the YouTube end. Do me a huge favor and make sure you share, like, all that good stuff. Helps out a ton, man. Get more eyeballs on the content. I got the weirdest offer, by the way. Somebody had hit me up for some potential advertising needs. And I just was like, huh? I was like, huh? It was like the weirdest thing. They were trying to sell some type of pesticide stuff. I'm just going, I mean, well, if we were a gardening show, like I guess, or if a majority of our audience, like, if 90% of our audience was past the age of 50, like I guess that would sell. But it's like that's not even the case at all. I had to professionally and gently let them down, going, yeah, this wouldn't be a good fit, but more power to you. Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. Weirdest stuff though. Weirdest stuff. But anyway, so a little bit of stuff that we can get into here on the show. By the way, did you guys see that stuff about Joker 2? Besides the fact that it's not doing well in the box office, like the latest news that's out right now, before the end of the month, Joker 2 is going to hit before the end of the month. Joker 2 will become available for your respected streaming, rental, owning pleasure. Joker will release on digital October 29th. So, like, this comes less than a month after the movie was released in theaters, man. Like I told you guys, the movie, because I had reviewed it on this weekend's Wrestling with the Topics. I sat down with the wife, and we did. That was a great show, by the way. Had a lot of fun doing that. We ended up doing that episode on a Friday, and I made that episode available just a few hours afterwards for on demand and download. So if you guys did not listen to that episode, go out of your way and check it out when you get a chance. But I spent several minutes talking about Joker 2, talking about what worked, what didn't work. And my advice at the end was, look, save your money. You wait for it to come out on Max if you have Max. If you don't have Max, but you're thinking about getting a subscription for Max, look, unless you can get that joint for free for a week or 2 weeks or whatever, and be able to see Joker 2 that way, knock yourself out. But otherwise, you don't have Max and there's no limited trial available or whatnot, you'll be all right. You're not missing anything. That pretty much was my message. And definitely as far as hey, stream it now or own it now, Amazon, Prime Video or whoever. You just save that money. It was kind of one of those deals where what are they gonna want? Anywhere between $14 and up. Like it's one of those deals where I go, what if they made it $3.50? Would that be a feasible deal? If it was $3.50, could I recommend people? No, I still can't work up the nerve to go, yeah, go see it. What do you got to lose? Go. I still can't. I refuse. I refuse. I'm trying to look out for you guys. Speaking of looking out, I did you guys a huge solid today. So while I was in my television production class, I have been loving the hell out of my television production class. Um, what's so rewarding has been really learning the whole filming process that goes into a TV series, a newsroom show, or even a movie for that matter. And I've just been learning, different things. One day I'm doing work as a floor manager. Next day, I'm literally behind the camera operating. Um, this week, I'm going to be working in the studio on audio, live audio, as everything's being recorded and everything. So I'm learning like a lot of different things. But I thought about you guys because I had chatted it up with my professor and I said, hey, that show that I recorded last week, is it ready to download? And he goes, yeah. So I have my flash drive handy and I've got the show that I was not only one of the producers on, but I also was one of the directors for setting everything up and everything. So I have it now in my possession, and I'm going to look it over, see whatever cleaning might be needed, audio sweetening, things of that nature, and I'll make it be available later this week. So definitely give me you all's thoughts when you see it. Now, the one thing that you all got to keep in mind when you're checking it out, the guy that is interviewing me, extremely quiet, shy guy. Originally, originally the way that we had it set up, he was supposed to be the entertainment insider. And basically, I was going to be the host of the show, asking him the questions. But he felt that was too much pressure. So instead, we ended up switching roles. So I became the entertainment insider. Basically, I had to work double time. I had to carry I had to carry him and myself while trying to make the content come off as good as humanly possible. And it was a challenge. It was definitely a challenge, but we were able to make something happen. So keep that in mind when you guys check it out. So as many of you guys know, and I'm just trying to see if I can find the book, because if I can find the book, that would be fantastic. Yeah, hang on here, because we're getting ready to talk about something wrestling related. And I just want to see if I can find. Yes, I see the book. So, as you longtime listeners know, something that has been very dear and near to my heart for many, many years. And I just think the world of this woman. And anytime I happen to find myself online, particularly YouTube, and I'm trying to go down that rabbit hole, I always look up her matches and everything. Of course, I'm talking about the Burke herself, Mildred Burke, and her Queen of the Ring book by Jeff Lean. It is a fantastic read. I'm holding it up for my web streaming audience here. It's a fantastic book. Just you got to pick up the book. You got to pick up the book. You won't be disappointed. I would imagine it's probably going to be very challenging to get a hold of a physical copy. And I have not even bothered to see if they even tried converting it um, for digital, platforms like for Kindle and Apple Books and all. I haven't even bothered to see if they've done it yet. Uh, I would think that there has to be a demand, quite a high demand for something like that, right? But I mentioned Mildred Burke because they're getting ready to drop a biopic about her this week. And when you just think about the amount of women, pro wrestlers, particularly, I'm talking about, that are participating in this biopic on the Burke, I'm just going, oh, this sounds very, very promising. So look, we got Britt Baker in there. We got Walton Goggins from The Shield. What's the other one? Fallout. Is it Fallout? But I mainly know him from The Shield. He's in it. We got Tony Storm. So all of these people are set to star in this, and you want to talk about a woman that really paved the way. This woman started off wrestling as part of a circus act, and then eventually made the transition into, okay, well, let's take this on a professional level. And she was the NWA Women's Champion for over 35 years. Just imagine that. Just imagine holding on to a championship that goddamn long. Just think about that for a second, right? 3 decades plus as champion. And her husband, man, her husband was a real piece of work. Her husband was, look, her husband was an asshole. Her husband was an asshole. And when she finally had put her foot down and she decided she had enough of him, his drama, his BS, he got her blacklisted. He made her life very, very difficult. Very difficult. She saw, yeah, I'm not trying to borrow from Dusty Rhodes, but she definitely saw some hard times. And, somehow she was able to persevere. But yeah, he was a real piece of work. Real piece of work. It's just one of those, when I look back on it now, I just go, man, why did she put up with it for so long? And as you read the book, you know the answer. I mean, it's very obvious, why she put up with it for so long. But for most people, it's just one of those. Yeah, it couldn't have been me. I think I would have dipped out after, like, because a person can only take but so much and everything. But yeah, this is something that I know when Jim Ross had did his one man show tour many years back, including right here in DC, which I had went to. He talked about how he was trying to secure the rights to make a biopic, some type of a documentary, some type of a movie on her career and everything. And I remember off and on over the years, it's interesting because Jim Ross has been interviewed, and I've seen nobody follow up with him to go, hey, what about that Mildred Burke? Like, how's that coming along? Like, anything, anything you can report? Nothing like that. And I know when I was talking with the producers over there at Dark Side of the Ring, as much as they were interested in the idea, I was told, off air behind the scenes, that basically that was something that honestly they felt there really wasn't a demand for, and that it wasn't quite in the realm of Dark Side of the Ring. They just felt, honestly, it wasn't a popular enough of a story to. And I'm hearing that, I'm going, what? I'm like, wait, what? So just, I'm happy that this is gonna be coming out. Now, by the looks of it, from what I'm able to see in the credits that has been given, because you can see the credits for yourself on IMDb, it does like Jim Ross has anything to do. Does not look like he has anything to do with this. I will have you know, though, that Jim Cornette is involved in this. And I don't know why a lot of people are sleeping on this, but as far as like reporting about it and all that, because like when you go down the list of who's who in this film, you're just going, oh, I know that person. 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 Oh, 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 oh. And it's just rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Uh, but as far as Jim Ross, doesn't look like it's him. Ah, Jim Ross does serve as one of the executive producers. Jim Ross serves as one of the executive producers. So, and I promise you, I'm definitely going to be working my magic this week to see if we can score some interviews with some of the cast and people behind the scenes. See if we can get them to talk about this. So, look, if Jim Ross is involved, because this is the thing that I need you guys to remember, Jim Ross bought the rights for Queen of the Ring. He did just like me many years back. He ended up reading the book, very fascinated by the story. He ended up buying the rights. So I have a feeling that this is definitely pretty much what Jim Ross has been trying to do for like, and man, when did he do that DC Improv? That feels like it was maybe 10 plus years ago now. It feels like it. So I would imagine that this is the joint that he's been trying to do for the longest time. So now going on and on and on about that, I want to give you guys a heads up that it looks like this is going to be premiering Tuesday, October 15th at the Buffalo International Film Fest. And then it looks like the film will be releasing. It's kind of interesting what's going on here. So I told you about October 15th. October 17th, Portland, Oregon. It will be streaming at the Portland Film Fest. Then on the 19th of October, Newport Beach, California, at the Newport Beach Film Fest. October 19th and 20th, Indianapolis, Indiana, Heartland International Film Festival. See, October 25th, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Twin Cities Film Festival. Tallgrass Film Festival. November 8th, Fort Lauderdale, Florida International Film Festival. November 10th, Colorado Island, what's that? California Island Film Festival. So I'll continue to stay on top of this for you guys as far as like what's going to be happening with the theatrical release. We back. Looks like we're back. That was weird. That was weird. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Area. So I'm not really sure what the hell that was about. Usually I do the Google test And Google likes to be a smart ass. You go, hey, are you connected to the internet? And Google will see here. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the buffering. I don't know what's going on with that. I almost want to reboot, but yeah, that's kind of pushing it. So I don't know. I don't know. If it happens again, I'll tell you what we'll do. If the stream gets interrupted again, I'll try rebooting and see if that maybe will do the trick. So just FYI. So I think we just got done talking about where all Mildred Burke was going to be playing, right? And I gave you guys a heads up about the Christopher Reeve story. Yeah, that Christopher Reeve story. I wanted to see that documentary really bad, but as I mentioned a few seconds ago, the dates for it, it's limited. And it seems like as the weeks have progressed, less and less showing. So like in my area, it's only showing on 3 different days, and none of those days sadly work because the wifey is working during that time. So, and the last thing I want to do is see that by myself because she actually was really hyped to see it. So, it's kind of one of those, well, I guess we can wait until that comes out on DVD and everything. Jerry Lawler. Jerry Lawler health update for you guys. He spoke with Bill Apter for Sportskeeda, and he talked about his health, mentioning how it's been a big problem for him lately. He had a couple of strokes, and that's what cost him his deal with WWE with his commentating because his voice, it's no longer perfect, and as a result it's not good enough to do commentating. So WWE, they still have him on the Legends deal and everything. He's still part of the WWE family. He talked about how he still gets a nice big check. That's pretty decent for him. So it's not all that bad and everything. The thing with Jerry Lawler, the thing with Jerry Lawler, you would have thought that after the first joint, which was really, really scary. I'll never forget that night. I'll never forget coming on the air and just everything that was going on with Jerry Lawler and all that. It was just whoa. It- that was just a weird experience in itself. But since then, as far as, oh, okay, well, look at this guy. He had this health scare. He's on the right, and he's on the right path now. He's eating right, he's exercising, and he's lifting weights, or he's doing this, he's doing that, and good for him. But he wasn't doing any of that. It was pretty much okay, yay, I survived. All right, steak, ribs, french fries, cheeseburgers, barbecue ribs, and every time I turned around and I was seeing what Jerry was posting on social media, he was always stuffing his face with like really, really bad. And it's not like, hey, cheat meal, it's cheat meal day. Like, no, like this is like, you knew he's been eating this on an everyday basis. That's my whole point, y'all. He's eating this on an everyday basis. So, it's kind of one of those. It almost reminds me of one of my friends. One of my friends has diabetes, and his diabetes is much worse than my diabetes because with his diabetes, he actually has blurred vision. Um, and it's like, dude, like, stop already. But like, he's a skinny guy. He's a skinny guy, but it's what he's putting in his body that like makes it so bad. And like, his wife has told him so many times, yo, you gotta, and he's just so hard-headed. So apparently one day out of the weekend, I think it was just this. I think it was just coming out of this past weekend. Actually, they were at a friend's house, and apparently the friend showed him, hey man, yeah, my damn diabetes, is getting out of control. They've had to amputate a couple of my toes, and he took off his foot. Don't take off your foot. No, he took off his shoe and sock, and he showed it to him. And like my friend who's been struggling with diabetes for, my God, this guy's been struggling with his diabetes for at least 20 years that I know of. Now all of a sudden he goes, oh, yeah, that's his rude awakening. And it's kind of one of those, yeah, yeah, I hear you talking, but proof is in the pudding. Let's see what happens and everything. So I know as I'm getting older, my diabetes, thank God, and I'm knocking on wood, my diabetes is still very manageable. I'm still in the you can kick out of this, you can, reverse this. Is like, but your window of opportunity is not necessarily small. It's just, hey, stay the course, you'll be all right and everything. Um, Luckily, because I get my eyes checked every 2 years. I just got my eyes checked. What was it? August, actually. I got my eyes checked. Doc was like, your eyes are good. I don't see any, type of retinal damage, and stuff that's typically associated as a result of diabetes. She's like, no, you're good. She's like, but your numbers are just a little bit high. It's like you want to bring those down a little bit. It's like, yeah, I'm trying. She goes, don't try, do. She kind of got like one of those Bruce Lee things, and she knows I'm a big Bruce Lee fan, so she usually gives me a Bruce Lee liner when she sees me, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay, doc, I hear you. I hear you. I'm like, I'm on it. I'm on it. So, Jerry Lawler, I definitely wish him the very best as far as speedy recovery and all that. But that speedy recovery is only going to really means something if you stick to a game plan and everything. Well, we're talking about Jerry Lawler, something else in a update, his claims against the jail that had his son Brian Christopher in custody. Remember that? That's pretty much going back to 2018. And for those of you that's not really familiar with the story, Jerry Lawler's son was arrested and charged with DUI. And then several days later, he was found dead, hanging in a cell. And Lawler ended up suing the county, the officers involved, the sheriff, wrongful. Oh, I see a mosquito. I'm distracted now because I see a damn mosquito. We'll wonder if I will kill this thing before the end of the broadcast. We will wait and see. We'll wait and see. Hate them. I hate those little bastards. Anyway, so he talked about how he was going to sue them and all that. This is something that we have been following for a good amount of years now. And the suit, the whole case, it ended up being thrown out of court. So in the last update for you guys, looks like in September, the same court ended up reconsidering the ruling on Lawler's remaining claims against the county and granted the county's motion for summary judgment. As a result, all of Lawler's claims regarding his son's death in the Hardman County Jail were dismissed. So much for that, right? Whether or not this is truly the end, that remains to be seen and everything. But kind of sucks. It really does, because this isn't a black thing. This isn't a white thing. It's not about gender. It's all about, at the end of the day, hey, accountability here. It's all about accountability here. And then not to also mention, it's also about, okay, so what steps have been taken leading up to this? What steps are going to be taken after to ensure that something like this does not happen again to another individual? It's just one of those constant reminders. You feel me? So, that's a tough pill to swallow. It really is. That's a real tough pill to swallow. That when all this is said and done, you walk away, and as far as some form of justice goes, it eludes you, at least for now. You know. Mm. Rikishi, meanwhile, switching things up a little bit. Rikishi tried to clarify what he meant from a couple of weeks ago when he was asking fans to pray for Jimmy Uso. He talked about this on his podcast, and look, I don't know what this guy was thinking, right? Let me read to you the direct quote here, and you take it how you want to take it. God forbid I even say anything on social media. Everybody thought that Jimmy was in the hospital. All I said was send a prayer for my son. That's it. As any father would give any son. I got so much flack for just being a father, trying to send some prayers for his boy, and then boom. Now let's just pause right there. Let's just pause right there. And this is where, if you are Rikishi's co-host, right, you're like, well, look, not for nothing, but all you did was post this cryptic, what many can perceive as a cryptic tweet that has people wondering what the hell is going on. This goes back to that old saying that I have when it comes to social media. Before I get ready to send something, I always pause and I go, is this good? And if I hesitate for just 2 seconds, I know I don't need to send it. I know that I need to wait and, okay, what needs to be cleaned up here? Or do I even bother sending this live at all? So I know about the post in question. And I remember looking at that post going, what the hell is going on here? Now, I never jumped out there. You can go back and check for yourself. But I never jumped out there and said, oh, Rikishi's son, Jimmy, looks like he's in the hospital. I said, hey, Rikishi, asking for prayers, like, not sure what's going on, hoping for the best. But typically, when you hear that type of language, it's no different than, oh man, I'm at the hospital. Hey, I can use your prayers right now, or hey, I'm at the veterinarian clinic. Prayers for my dog. Like, people are going to, oh man, hey, keep my dog in your prayers. Right? Like, when you hear stuff like that, people are automatically, they're going to think, oh man, something's really wrong here. Something's not quite right with that person's dog or pet, or, oh, something's wrong with your kid. Like, oh, so if Rikishi meant well, then before he hit that sent button, he really should have paused, looked at what he was getting ready to put out there, and say, hey, my son's okay. I just mean, creatively speaking, what's been happening with him creatively on television. Hey, keep my boy in your prayers. So, you know, what's really going on here in regards to Rikishi? Either Rikishi is that naive, or he didn't appreciate that he got called out on his bullshit. And this is him trying to, scale back and try to, oh, you guys just assume the worst. And, once you get them that first, second time, like the fans are just gonna stop paying attention to you. They're just going to, yeah, okay, yeah. You're just crying wolf. You're just no, no, no. Miss me with all that. So, oof, that's not good. That is not good. That comes off dangerously deceptive. And the last thing that you want to be, especially when you're in the industry of podcasting, when you're in that field, the last thing that you want to do is have a rep of being deceitful, because once you get that tag, it's very hard to come out of that. It's very hard to shake that image off. Very, very, very hard. Yeah, just I don't know I don't think this guy was thinking at all. And anybody that is truly his co-host would give it to him right between the eyes and go, look, not for nothing, but this is how you really need to be thinking about this. This is really how you need to be looking at this. At least when it comes to guys like Kevin Nash, you pretty much know when Kevin Nash is just okay. Kevin Nash is in clickbait mode. All right, so take what he's saying here with a grain of salt here, right? We'll really pay him no mind. Well, with what Rikishi has been doing, these have been coming off as desperate, cheap tactics to try and, who's the Ball father? Is it LeVar Ball? He's basically kind of coming off like that, and it's one of those, man, just chill in the background, just chill in the background, because you know you could actually end up doing more harm than good for your sons by continuing to do what you're doing here. Like, just pump the brakes on that. Cheap tactics, though, very cheap tactics. All right, let's see what else we got. I don't know what happened with the stream a few minutes ago, but that was really, really, really weird. I'm just glad that everything is good again, because that was really, really weird. You guys see my plant in the background? I've been growing that now for actually, can you guys see the plant? Just trying to see. Can you guys hang on? If I do it, yeah, you guys can see the plant. Just look where my finger is right here. You look pretty closely. You see my plant's been growing very nicely these past couple of weeks. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Let's see. Other than that, just trying to see. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Closing out with this one. Hiroshi Tanahashi. So he's talking about when his in-ring wrestling career comes to an end, about some of the opponents he would like to face. And one of the opponents that he talked about, he said, it would be nice if I could take on Shinsuke Nakamura, or, do something involving the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. That would be a nice way for me to go out. And that just got me thinking once again, as far as, man, well, before that happens, it'd be really nice if we could see this guy do some type of a US tour, and he can take on some USA opponents before, all of that is said and done. Now, look, my list is obviously going to be different for a lot of people, and that's okay. But the way I'm the way I'm operating with my list, if age is not an issue and the person can still go, they can deliver, top notch quality type of match. This is my personal list that I would like to see. Obviously, because of certain people's ages, it might not be the best, but still, it leaves you to the imagination of, well, what if? Well, what if? This is my list. I'd like to hear you all's list. Again, we're talking USA dream opponents for Hiroshi Tanahashi. All right. I got the icon Sting, the phenomenal AJ Styles. Didn't Hardy call him the phenomenal forearm AJ Styles? I just Brock Lesnar. A lot of people these days they sleeping on Brock Lesnar. Yeah, they forget that that man is a pure amateur wrestler. He's got that background. He can crank it out. He can crank out those classic technical moves in a heartbeat. A lot of people continue to sleep on that. John Cena, and longtime listeners have heard me go for years. Hiroshi Tanahashi is like the John Cena of Japan, as far as I'm concerned, right? He is New Japan Pro Wrestling's, John Cena. And I mean it in the most respectful way. Basically, he is the equivalent to Cena. He's the equivalent to Hulk Hogan Prime. He's the equivalent to, and you fill in the blank. This next one, I think this would just really work very well, especially if you have a heel version of this next guy working with a babyface Tanahashi. But The Rock, I think The Rock and Tanahashi would be a very damn good feud. Honorable mention to AEW's The Butcher. That guy has really, really been stepping up, doing some phenomenal work as a singles wrestler. Love the opportunities that this guy's been given, and he just continues to hit it out of the park. I just saw him in a singles match. I think it was on this past week's Rampage, and I'm just going, give this guy more opportunities already. Seth Rollins and Tanahashi, that would just do numbers. That's another one of those. That's another one of those where do you want to do babyface versus babyface, or you're gonna have Seth Rollins be the heel? Like just the match itself, that would just work extremely, extremely well. Shout out to AEW's Pac and Tanahashi. That would be, I think, a match of the year candidate, as well as the next individual that I'm thinking about, which is House of Blacks, Malachi Black. That shit would be fire. Okay. That would be fire. Honorable mention to the Cody Rhodes. I think that'd be another pretty good one. And last but not least, CM Punk. I think CM Punk would be a pretty damn good one as well. That's my list. Let me know what you guys think about that one. I'm curious, and if you have your own respected dream opponents there for Tanahashi, I'm curious. See, I want to see more information about this next one, but did you guys hear Kurt Angle is in the process of getting a movie produced that's basically going to cover his life, his career, particularly his Olympic career. And when you hear the synopsis for this, and I'm curious to know how far along he is. Uh-oh. Ooh, Amber Alert. Hang on, guys. Okay. Amber Alert, Churchville, Maryland, Amber Alert, Ohio tag, JFK 3146, 2022 gray Nissan Altima, 4 doors. Yeah, that's the same Amber Alert I had got, myself and others had got while we were in the middle of class today. And luckily it happened, the timing of it, luckily it happened right when class was over. And I was waiting for my file to finish converting and all that. So I hope that's the only time we're gonna get that Amber Alert, because it's starting to get pretty late here. But yeah, I'm curious to know in regards to Kurt Angle, going back to that, I'm curious to know how far along he is with this, because from the little bit that he put out there, this almost has a Rocky Balboa 1976, so Rocky 1. It almost has that type of story and feel to it and everything. Story is about a kid from the streets of Pittsburgh that overcomes obstacles, including a broken freaking neck, to win the Olympic gold medal. Directors involved want this movie to have a Rocky type feel with a little bit of the fighter and Iron Claw mixed in. I think that's a great combination. Apparently, Kurt Angle's going to be working behind the scenes on it, and the aim is for it to be released in theaters. So apparently, the script is done. I want to read the treatment for it. I'm very curious to learn a lot more about the treatment for it as opposed to the script. I want to see the treatment for it first. Then I want to, because if you're sold on the treatment, then it's like, okay, now let's talk script. But apparently he's saying that the script is done and that he's shopping around for investors. And then, of course, after that, the cast will be picked out, which Angle and company have a few good names for in mind. So I would just love to see the treatment for this and then read the script. But this does sound very promising. What Kurt Angle is envisioning, I see that combination working. You want to take the Iron Claw meets the fighter mixed in with the first Rocky movie. That is definitely a great winning formula, especially. I mean, you could essentially have your own respected little Rocky franchise here if you do this right. The first one could be just all about the humbled beginnings and everything that leads up to Kurt Angle going ultimately on the path of the Olympics, breaking the neck, persevering, winning it, and then you could pretty much end it on that note. And then depending on how well it does in the box office, how well it does at the box office, you could then potentially make a part two, and then part two could focus on a couple of years, after the Olympics and all that. Kurt Angle making the transition into professional wrestling. You could definitely focus you could definitely focus on his rise and ultimate fall, especially if you do it in a way where it's kind of a cliffhanger, if you will. The third one, you could definitely pick up where things are just spiraling out of control, his marriage, the whole 9 yards, finding redemption. You got enough material there for a trilogy. So I'd be very curious to read the treatment and get a really good understanding for what Kurt Angle's trying to do here. Like, how's he picturing it? Is he picturing it as a trifecta, or is he just picturing this as just one big one-off of a film? Because if you're just thinking about doing this as just one film, obviously there's a lot that's going to be skipped over. You're not going to be able to go through every single twist and turn, nook and cranny. You feel me? So I mean, could he pull it off if it's just a one off? It's a lot of flash forwarding, isn't it? There's a lot of fast forwarding you got to do in there. I don't know. I don't know. I think it would really depend on how strong the script is and how good the director is. I think those are the factors there, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm definitely hoping for the best there with Kurt Angle. Well, I tell you what, he might not need to go that far as far as finding a investor goes. He might not need to go that far, because you look at what The Rock is doing there with that film on that MMA fighter that looks very, very promising. Who knows? Maybe he might not have to go that far. He might be able to pick up the phone, give The Rock a call, and I'm not saying Rock stars in it. No, no, no. We don't want The Rock as Kurt Angle by no stretch, but What I am saying is, as far as finding a production company, literally, he might not have to go that far. You know, keep your fingers crossed and hope for the best with that one. All right. So other than that, let's take a fork at it. I think this episode, we did good. Again, it's nice being able to do these shows and then we're out of here before midnight or nowhere near midnight. We got a little bit of a late start. I was waiting on the wifey to come home and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be here a few minutes after 10." I'm like, "Just come on already. Like, it's all good." Wanted to swap cars out, so I was waiting on her because I did not want to take my car across the street by myself as I don't feel good. And it's cold. It is cold over here. Like we are in the frigid temperatures right now. You definitely need a hat. Don't need gloves, but you definitely need a hat. You definitely need a scarf, maybe around your throat or whatever. But we did good. We only did about 90 minutes for a show. I don't know what was going on with the tech stuff there earlier, but obviously that was something out of our hands, but it's all good. And we managed to weather through it and everything. So, look, as far as program and notes go, your next edition at this point, we'll definitely be back next Monday. I know this weekend, me and Tess are going to sit down. We're going to record another edition of Wrestling with the Topics for you guys. So be on the lookout for that. But your next edition of the RCWR show definitely will be dropping Monday night of October 21st, 2024. Meanwhile, I want you guys to be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed for on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcasts. Just search the RCWR show. Get at your man all throughout social media. Use keywords the RCWR show. Shout out to those that support the show. Shout out to our sponsors as well. Until next go round, my pretty babies. Wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I'll see y'all next go round. Take care.